Hey everybody, it's Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. Hey, we're going to go over how to surface smaller pieces of wood that you can't fit through the thickness planer. And the other thing with this too, we got grain going all over the place. So we got a special way to do this. I'm going to show you that. Couple other things, what I'm going to try to do is, while I have things in the shop, I'm going to try to cover those things also. I'm doing these mold boxes here. Okay, so what I got to do, I don't have a cameraman today. I'm going to do the best I can here. I got to put new locators in here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that job. Plus, you know, I want to go over here. Oh, here's the casting that we did the other day. Remember, we made this pattern. Okay, we had a series on making this pattern. Okay, we started out with a sketch from my buddy, like I said. You know, then we came in here, laid it out, built it, finished it. Okay, so there's a finished pattern, and then here's the finished casting. Okay, with all the gating cut off. This thing weighs 22 pounds, 22-pound casting. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm starting to get a little busy again. He's got another buddy that can do machining, so he might just have his other buddy do the machining. If I do the machining on this, we'll do the machining on it too. But what we'll do is, before we get done, we'll show you the machine piece if you know, we have another guy do it. Okay. So one of the things I got to do here. Okay. Right now these have. They're called ADOF locators in here, and the foundry they're going to, they have their own locating system. It's getting, like I said, with this cold set sand system, this system's getting like more and more popular. Okay, so how they do this, and this is where, like I said, it's going to take you guys a long time to learn how to do things, and they do things slowly at first. Get your accuracy first, and then speed will come down the road. Okay, just do your accuracy, because this is one of those jobs right now where this has got, we got to be accurate with this job. Okay, and you know, the reason for it, there's going to be two halves together. You know, just like we did here. You know, we got the two halves are pinned. Well, we do these pins a little wrong, you know, I'm just going to do, you know, it's going to be askew like that. We're not going to get a good casting, okay? You know, so same thing with this. And here's the thing too, there are times, believe me, there's a couple things that can go wrong with these too, with the pins in the flasks with those little bushings that I showed you. There are several things that can happen. A pattern maker could pin something incorrectly, or when you're drilling the pinholes through either your manch plate or your boards, you know, things could drift, you know, you could be out that way. Your pins and bushings might be off a little bit. Your flasks, pins and bushings can be off a little bit too. So there's a bunch of, like I said, pretty much with pattern making, there's so much that can go wrong in different ways, you know what I'm saying? So these guys, what they do is, for location here, 9 times out of 10, you only want to use two pins to locate, okay? With this system, they use 3. All right, and the way they do it is, we make, I'll show you how to make them real quick. Is why I want to do this, because I'll do this a couple times a year or so. I want to show you how to do this, because it is a neat little way to locate things. All right, so say you got your box, okay, like this. All right, then there's going to be 2 of them, you know, cope and drag. Okay, so you got your pattern in here. Let's make it a little better pattern. All right, so what they do is they have these conical shaped locators in here, and like I say, they'll put 3 of them in here. All right, so we have specific sizes, and these are to the thousandths of an inch. You can't You want to sound fathead, I'm doing them with a ruler. I can do them good enough with the ruler, okay? But when you're first starting out, maybe you get a pair of verniers and do this. Okay, they got to be pretty accurate, okay? So the foundry's got a core box, and the core box is going to look like this, okay? It's going to be split down the middle. Okay, it'll be open on each end, and what it'll look like is this, okay? So they'll stick the sand in here, you know, harden it, and then when they take that out, you know, your core is going to look like this, okay? It's a core, but it's a locator, okay? So what's going to happen is we're going to fill this all full of sand in here, right? Okay, and then when it comes out, you know, you're going to have these two spaces here, right? So that's where this locator is going to sit in there. So they'll have the drag side down, they'll have the locators, and then, you know, just pretend this is upside down, right? So you'll have the other ones sticking up, all right, like that, and then they'll lower the cope down over the top. So that's how they locate these things, all right? So that's one of the things where this is a different locating system, okay? That's why I wanted to show you, because I got this in the shop, all right? So how you start out is, I like to make these out of poplar because they're a little bit more rugged than pine. Okay, I don't know how many patterns or how many molds are going to make off of this, but so what I started out, I got a piece of poplar. Actually, it was a piece of poplar that's been sitting here for the last couple days. I glued it up like we do. You know how we you know, you get your grain. You know, here's what this looks like from the end grain. It's going to be hard for me to show you, but you know, I got my grain alternating. Okay. That's how we do this. Alright, and this is going to give me strength and stability. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this, like I said, I don't have a camera guy today, so what I'll probably do is just go do certain aspects of this, and then I'll just show you as I'm going along. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this, I got my block. Alright, I'm going to take on this side here with the grain, I'm just going to take a cut off my sander. Okay, and then I'll have a square edge here. All right, and then from there, these, my little pins, they call them pins. Okay, my pins have to be, we'll do this big, okay? My pins, here's your parting. These have to be 2.5 inches, but they actually 1 inch, 900, or I think something like that, or 490, I think these are, or something. But anyhow, he wants them a little bit more correct. So, all right, so we got the 2 inches, and then I believe they're 2.5 inches too. 2.5 inches in diameter. Okay, so it's kind of square. But what we want to do, and this is going to be for several reasons. Okay. I'm going to cut these, like I said, I'm going to take a cut off here on the sander, get a square edge, then I'm going to mark a square edge with my square and my knife, measure down 2.5 inches, and cut blocks, okay? And the reason I'm doing it this way, I want the grain to be going like this, okay? And a couple reasons I want the grain to go like that is, this end grain side right here, that's going to be real rugged, real hard, right? So if I were to make the grain this way, you know, think about, they're putting sand in here, okay? So sand, it's like sandpaper. You're taking this out. That's why I'm saying the patterns have to be pretty rugged, especially ones that they're going to use that time after time after time. Right, so through, say they make 1,000 molds off of this, you know, the sand is gonna start like wearing these corners down, and that won't happen with the grain going that way. Okay, it's a lot more tough. Then too, just say, you know, they're putting one of these boxes on top, and the box slips in and hits the edge. You know, just say this box comes in here and hits this. I mean, that might bust off too. That's not going to happen here, okay? So we want the grain going lengthwise to the top. I mean, it's almost square, but you know, that's the way we want to do it. It's going to be a little bit more rugged. So I'll show you how to get there from here. We'll do these pins real quick. I'll show you how to do these pins. I won't install them. I'll show you how I'm going to install them, but then I'll show you real quick. I still really want to show you how we're going to surface this stuff too. So let me get going on this thing and we'll get with you. I'll be right back. Okay guys, back. Hey, I got 2 pieces sanded to the width I need, which actually will be the height, okay? Now, so when we do these things, like I said, these things have to be really accurate, okay? So a problem we have in making these with the grain going up like this, right? So when I stick my dividers in to strike an arc, okay, you can see this is, you know, why I've got to teach you about grain and the way the grain moves and stuff. All right, so you can see if I stick this point in there, there's no resistance for these divider points, okay? See, if I was to go the other way, you know, you stick it in and the grains are it's gonna be a lot tougher to stick these things in, okay? So that's a problem, especially when we're doing these. I mean, if it was gating, it wouldn't be a big deal. All right, so what we have, this is something I actually came across. I never made these as an apprentice. I should have. It's because my old foreman, the old German guy, had a big set of these things. And they're center finders, basically. So I don't know if we can, we'll try to get a fairly close up, okay? So what it is, we have a bunch of different sizes. You know, this is 1/2 inch diameter, okay? And then it's got a little shoulder on it here. Let's do some chalk talk. That's what this is about, right? Doing the chalk talk. So we'll do a little chalk talk here. So what this looks like, okay, and then like I said, if you have a metal lathe, you know, perfect. Okay, so this is a 1/2 inch, and like I said, this one I've got a couple different sizes, like you know, whatever, 1/8 inch, whatever. So when you turn these things up, it's got a perfect center on there, okay? So what I'm going to do is, you know, if you have a metal lathe, you know, make some of these up. Because like I said, I made a mistake not doing it. And if it were me, I'd do two of each size, okay? And like I said, mine stops at 1/2 inch, you know, do 5/8, 3/4 inch, okay? I mean, I would, when I get a lathe, that's one of the first projects I'm going to do. I'm going to make some more of these things. I just acquired these from some guy. All right, okay, so what I did was, I just cut 2 blocks out. I need six of these cones, or the 6 of the cones that we were showing here. I need 6 of those for, you know, 3 on each side, okay? When I do things like this, excuse me, when I do things like this, when I was making the flasks and I had the ears, I'll make a whole bunch at one time and put them in a box, okay? So these, I just happened to glue that 1 block up. All right, I'm just gonna make 6 of them, so I'll have enough for another set. You know, if I get another set of these in a couple months, I won't have to make these again, okay? So what I did was, I just took my dividers roughly really quick, and I kind of laid out where these, it's gonna be a 2.5 inch diameter, okay? So I could get 6 of them on. And just roughly, I took my square marking gauge and I marked some centers out on here, okay? But I'm not going to take my dividers and put them in here and strike marks, because like I said, I'm just going to be plunging this divider, whatchamacallit, the leg of it, it's just going to go deep, deep, deep. And what's going to happen is I'm not going to have a true 2.25 inch radius on there. Okay, it's going to sink in there, and it's actually going to pull the outer leg in, and I'm going to get a smaller diameter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to the drill press, and I'm going to take a 1/2 inch brad point bit. Okay, if you don't have these, it's this layout here, it's just a reference, okay? But I got brad point, these cut real nice for me. I'm going to drill this in here about halfway down, okay? And then I'll show you when I do it. Then I'm gonna take my center, put that in that hole, and then strike my arc, okay? It's gonna be way more accurate, okay? Now the second reason I'm doing this way too, all right? So we have these two boxes, okay? So how do I know where to drill the holes for these locators to go? I mean, it's got to be perfect from the drag half to the cope half, okay? So for me to do this right now, it's got battens on the bottom. I'd have to take the battens off. I'd have to take the sides off and just get down to the boards, okay? I'll pick you guys up in a minute and I'll show you what's in there right now. When they do the Adolphs, there's already they use a 1/2 inch drill, excuse me, they use a 1/2 inch drill to locate where the Adolphs go. Okay, so he's got 3 spots in there with 1/2 inch drill spots side to side. Okay, so I know that that's good. And then when I do these two, that's the same thing you do. Okay, so you got your 2 boards, okay, and then you know, you get your cope board, and then you get your drag board. All right, so what you do is you book these together, you put some clamps on them, and then, you know, we'll go over these when I get one to mount, okay, something like this, okay. We know approximately where our pattern is going to be, okay. All right, so then you kind of figure out where you're going to drill your holes, okay. So we'll book the 2 together, the 2 boards together, and drill 1/2 inch holes through both the boards, okay, well, in 3 spots. That way we can put our conical shaped locators. All right, like I said, we'll do them. This is already done. I'll pick you guys up real quick. I'll show you. Here, I took one out already. You know, hopefully you can see this, but this is an Adolph. So this one on this side's making it'll actually make a male, okay? But you can see the 1/2 inch hole I got in there. So I'm actually gonna have to build this up too. So I'm gonna have to get, this is 1 inch. So I got some 1 inch plywood. I'll cut a hole in right where this is and we'll put a pin all the way through it, okay? So you can see that. And then this side, you got the males over here, but it's gonna make a, that's gonna make a female in the sand, okay? Okay, so that's basically how, then like I said, down the road, when I get something where I'm actually gonna mount something, I'll show you where it's going. Yeah, same thing with gating. I did a gating job. I should have showed you how I did that, but like I said, we're going to be doing hundreds of gate. You got to locate your gating, you know, back and forth too, okay? So this is what we're going to do. Like I said, I'm going to go over to the drill press right now, put some 1/2 inch holes in these things. I'll show you how to strike an arc on these things, all right? And then we'll show you how we cut them out and go about putting these things in. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, guys, got my block. I got 6 holes in there. I'll be able to make 6 pins. Okay, so basically all you got to do is you take your center finder in there, stick it in, and that, let's put that thing back up again. Here's the important part with this too. Oh, real quick, another thing too, all this stuff I'm making, like gating, this stuff right here, this is just standard. We just use a standard ruler for this, okay? All right, so what happens is this center actually, it comes down like this a little bit, all right? So the bottom of where my divider point is gonna be is on this plane here, okay? So that's on the surface of this, okay? That's important because like I said, if this was smaller, okay, up here, and I got my divider points coming up here, that's actually going to pull the outer leg of my divider in farther. I'm going to get a tighter circle. Okay, it's going to be smaller because it's, in. That's the importance why we do this, and this is where, like I said, the accuracy. Okay, so I got this in here, and same thing, like I said, don't do one big sweeping arc, okay? You kind of take it off in little chunks. Okay, and you know, especially end grain. The end grain will, you know, these legs will pull all over. Okay, so that right there. Now you're gonna have a way better, more accurate, way more accurate radius there. Okay, so I'm gonna use my beater chisel to get these out because these things are pretty tight, man. I gotta go get it. I should have brought it over here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go into, you got the gist of this. Next time I do one, you know, we'll do a whole series on just doing these pins, how we mount them, how we get, you know, cope to drag and that. Okay, you got the gist of this. I just wanted to show you these center finders basically, okay? Let's get on to what I said we're gonna do. Let me show you how to surface this, okay? So when we do jobs as pattern makers, all right, so I always say you want everything square and flat and that. Well, that's kind of a stupid statement, right? Because we put draft on everything, so that's not square, right? But basically when you start everything out, everything's got to be square, and it's definitely got to be flat, parallel. Okay, so you know this measures, you know, it's standard scale, but all right, we'd be able to get, this is a little over 1.5 inches, so we'd be able to get 1.5 inches out of this. Okay, so I flattened the one side on the sander. Okay, so this one side's flat. Another trick real quick, take your ruler, okay, that's pretty flat. You can look up into light, you see any light in between the board and the ruler, okay, you know something's not flat there, okay? So that's, you see, if you go in a pattern shop, most all patterns, we got that ruler in the back of our pocket, you know, we always have a ruler there, you know? So that's one of the biggest things, you know, we just check things for flatness. You know, I got the 2-footers, I got 4-footer hanging over there. You know, when I built this bench, when I was hand planing it, I was taking my steel straight edge, that's straight. You know, make sure where I was getting things, okay? So you can do that. You can actually, just for giggles really quick too, you can actually, this is perfectly square. If you just need to get like a quick, you know, oh, does this have any draft on it? You can actually use that to get a bit, you know, I wouldn't use it religiously, but I mean, it's a thing where if you want to check something real quick, you'll see me. I'll put it up there, see if I got draft on it, okay? But yeah, you check that slat, okay? One of the ways I could do it, I could take my thumb gauge, mark 1.5 inches all the way around here, go take it on the sander and sand it. But a lot of times, that's not going to be accurate enough. If I was doing something, say we needed to make a just round thing, 1.5 inches thick, you know, and I was going to machine the whole thing or something, I'll go over on the sander, I'll sand it, we're good enough, okay? But if I'm making, you know, like I said, a part for the Navy, a part for, you know, whatever, one of my customers, this thing's got to be perfectly parallel all the way around, okay? So how we do that is, let me show you. Okay guys, we're over here by the drill press, a radial arm. All right, here's a couple ways where you can get this done. This one's a homemade one if you got a buddy with a lathe, like I said. These cutters right here, you see it bolts in through the top, okay? It's got 3 carbide bits on it. These you can get at Freeman, I believe. I've been bought one there forever, okay? They actually sell smaller ones of these. This is called a safety planer, okay? Traditionally, when I worked at Precision Mold and Pattern, the first place I worked at, we actually had 2 router tables there, okay? So it looked exactly like this, but instead of a drill head with the motor, it had a router in it, okay? And we had, like I said, our safety planers were just a tad bit smaller, okay? And they would be in the router. I don't use this one on this too much because this doesn't go fast enough to, you know, it just tears, you know, the wood out really bad, you know. I mean, I will, but, you know, not too much. And it's kind of like I said, it's hard for you guys to be able to go out and buy a, you know, I don't even know if you could find them anymore, router arm in that, but it's, you know, they're really nice. I have one that's down at the foundry. I got a few machines stored there. I just don't have the room for them here. So hopefully one of these days I'll get that set up. All right, but what you can do and to get started, like I said, these are more suited for routers. But what I do here in this drill press, I just got, you know, one of these little, you know, disc holders, okay? And I'll put this in there, and then we stick this in the chuck, all right? And then what we do is, you know, kind of try to find the highest spot, and then I just drop it on there lightly. And then what we can do, let me go turn the phase converter on. I'll be right back. I'll turn this on the fastest speed I got on here right now. And you just, that's all you gotta do. Yep. Alright, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing here, alright? So, you know, just keep on surface, you gotta drop it down. All I do is hit this a little bit. Alright, now, if you don't have a drill press, you know, it's going to be hard for you guys to do, you know, do something like this. Actually, this too, these are alright, but what it is, these are rubber, so they flex. So you still get a little deflection in here, and things are a little bit, whatchamacallit, wavy. I'm making right now down at the foundry. I wanted to pour some Sunday, didn't have a chance. So during the week, what I'm going to do is I actually have a pattern that looks similar to this, okay? And I'll pour them out of aluminum. I'm going to make them, surface them, and make them so you can stick them in a drill, and then you can stick, like, it'll be 3 inches in diameter, so you'll be able to stick some 3-inch pressure sensitive adhesive discs on them, and that's way, it would be way better than these, right? Because like I said, this flexes, so you know you're not gonna get it perfect. And like I said, we want things perfect, all right, or as perfect as we can get them. Okay, but that's one of the ways we can do this. If you don't have a drill press, you know, I don't know. One of the things you could do too. You know, I've seen quite a few people do it to surface big things with the router. They'll just make like a bridge looking thing to set their router in. I mean, you could probably do something like that, you know, clamp that down to your bench and, you know, be able to move it. Like the safety planer, what it is they call this a safety planer because the outside of this is about 1/8 of an inch past the cutter head, so if you bump your finger on it, you're going to hit the outside. Although I did see a guy do it one time, he had it way up in there and he ran his hand underneath it, so I don't know how safe they are. But I'm coming out, like I said, I'm coming out with one where you'll be able to put a pressure sensitive adhesive disc on there. We'll see how those work out. They'll be available to people if you guys want them. But that's basically how, you know, you can do that. You can do just like small square pieces. They don't have to be round like this, okay? It's, you know, square pieces. You know, if you got a small piece like this, I got to have it perfectly parallel. This is where you got to do it, okay, guys? So I'll show you more of these down the road. It's, like I said, as I get things in here, I'll show you how to do the different jobs in here, and then, you know, hopefully we'll get to the finale a few years from now, and you guys will be some awesome craftsmen in that. But you know, we'll trudge along. Like I said, once I get stuff in, I'll get stuff going with you. I'm not sure what we're gonna do. I got the big doing a train cylinder for a rideable steam train, so I'll start that project. I'll try to start filming as much as I can. It's kind of hard for me to, like I said, that job I'm going to have to concentrate on, okay, big time. So I'll try to film as much of that we'll try to get, you know, the one section I do want to film on that, and I will, is I gotta do split cylindrical patterns on that, so I'll definitely show you how to do that, and I'll try to show you as much of that job as we can, alright? And like I said, we'll get down to the foundry again. I gotta go cast my buddy's the other part there, and gotta cast one more of those for him. I want to cast these things. I want to start making these available to people if they want to buy them. And I'm not forcing people to buy stuff, and I'm not doing this YouTube to sell things, okay? But you know, I'm gonna make these because, like I said, it's just it's an easy way to do it. I'm gonna try to make it inexpensive for people in it, so that you can do things, all right? So, like I said, we'll Chalk Talk Wednesday, Sunday. We'll probably start looking at that cylinder pattern, all right? So everybody have a good one out there, all right?